Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowby. With me, of course, my good friend Orenronen.
Hello.
My good friend Pulahoko.
Hello.
My good friend Jim.
Hey everybody.
My good friend Devious Vacuum.
What's up, gamers?
What's up? Damn it, my good friend Turbo C.
Not much. What's up with you?
I was considering I have a second can of seltzer here, opening it just for, but it's too late now. Whatever. Look, Stein's Gate.
Well, before we begin, there's something I want to share with you. So, despite what the game might make you think, Dr. Pepper is a really minor drink in Japan. You really have to go look for it to find it.
We're gonna lose our sponsorship.
Yeah, my local supermarket doesn't carry it, and none of the convenience stores I go to carry it, so you really have to know where to look. But, this being Japan, I have a 10-minute walk from the train station to my apartment every day, and in this 10-minute walk I go past approximately 15 drink machines, because this is Japan. And something caught my eye, and I saw one of them sells cans of Dr. Pepper. So I got one. And here's another thing about me. I really don't like carbonated drinks. So I've never had Dr. Pepper in my life.
Wait a minute. Are you going to tell us that you drank a Dr. Pepper just because of this podcast?
No, I'm telling you that I'm going to drink one right now because of this.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god! Oh my god! It's
All
happening!
right, but let's rewind a second. Polo, you're acting like this is the most.
Yeah.
We baked cakes.
Yeah, but cakes are good. Dr. Pepper isn't.
Oh my god, welcome to our Dr. Pepper review podcast.
Yeah, I have the can of Dr. Pepper here. It's a really fancy can. They have like a 50s American theme on it, like a neon woman and a neon car.
Oh my god.
And I also have a bottle of water in case this is really disgusting.
Alright, what are your expectations? What are you imagining that it tastes like based on the packaging?
I heard it tastes like medicine.
I don't want to
I
spoil
can
it
see
for you,
that.
but I can tell you why there's not a lot of Dr. Pepper in Japan. CERN.
CERN? CERN's trying to erase Dr. Pepper from the timeline.
Yeah, this is exact. Yeah, there's plenty in the current timeline that John Titor deviated from, but
In our universe, the S in CERN stands for soda.
Or as soon as you drink that Dr. Pepper, our world line's gonna deviate.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to open it now.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Wow.
I can't wait.
That's some good Foley work right there.
Listen to that. That sounds delicious.
Our very own test subject.
Oh my god. This is it's really sweet.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like kind of a cherry taste.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Doesn't taste like a doctor at all.
It's okay, I can drink this.
Oh my god!
I can drink this, it's
Oh,
okay.
happy ending.
yeah.
It's not that carbonated, actually.
Maybe I should have I haven't had Dr. Pepper in years, but I never liked it when I was a kid. So
Oh, I love Dr. Pepper. It's like a slightly spicy cherry.
Should we just start a separate podcast for soda talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really should.
We're soda Sundays.
We could call it Thirsty Thursday.
I put a photo on our chat.
That's a really cool looking Dr. Pepper.
it's like the world's lightest version of Jackass. It's like audio only, and you're doing things like drinking Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I like that packaging though.
All right.
All right.
Come on. Let's focus.
The intellectuals drink Dr. Pepper.
I'm Orenronen, and welcome to Popcast.
Now, Oren, you have to give that soda a rating. So like a B+.
All right,
or-
listen.
Let him think about it.
3, I guess. I don't
3.
drink that much soda.
Wait, out of what? Yeah.
Well, don't explain the scale. That's the
No
mystery.
scale. No scale. It's a 3.
What?
It's a 3.
You can't do-
Three.
No, it's just a
Okay,
3.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's a very
okay.
scientific,
Dr. 3.
the logarithmic scale.
A Dr. 3 for Dr. P.
All right. Listen. I'm too close to this microphone. I'm clipping everywhere. What is going on? What happened?
Last time, we left off at a cliffhanger. Luca wished to be cisgender, and the world line changed. And did it happen? We don't know.
Was she even there when we ended?
Yeah, she's still there.
She's there.
Yeah, because Rintaro wouldn't have had his same panic. or would have had the
Right.
same panic.
And he looks at her chest and is like, there's no boobs there, so I can't tell if she experienced girl puberty or not.
I mean, QED.
Yeah, she looks exactly the same, she sounds exactly the same, and she's still there, so...
I can't believe, like, how much worse the experiments have gotten in their verifiability. Like, it was really... I thought the lottery thing was so smart, because it is, like... You could only know that number if you'd been to the future, and then there's all this, like, now all these things that are tough to verify, and no one else remembers them, so it's only Rintaro, and
everybody's wish is a secret. Like, everybody's like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't want to tell you about it. Like, what?
Well, okay, I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it.
And everyone just backs that up. We're like, oh, let's test our time travel thing. Okay, but let's make it private. And they're like, okay, sure. Only the crazy person in this group is not okay with that.
And even when it stuff does happen, the only one who can verify it is one person, so no one ever believes in him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so anyway, so we don't know if it worked. What else happened in silly crap?
And then we just immediately leave. Like, Rintaro and Daru go to eat at the maid cafe.
That's right.
And start loudly talking about the time machine, and of course Ferris overhears them talking about it, and Daru is just immediately like, yeah, we made a machine that sends text messages to the past, and they, like, even Rintaro is now kind of, like, down on it, like, he's not, like, putting up this facade of, like, I'm gonna take over the world. He's just like, well, it's not as impressive as you're imagining. Like, it doesn't send objects, it just sends messages, and it can only be 36 bytes. So he's definitely, like, backing down in terms of how he's talking about it. Yeah, which is really interesting. And so I'm very excited because it seems like Ferris is going to join the lab, and she's interested in this time machine and wants to...
You're very excited about that? I don't know.
I love Ferris.
I don't know. I'm anti-Ferris.
Really?
Ferris is my favorite girl for Rintaro specifically.
I don't mind her, like, as in her personality and stuff like that, except I really don't like cat girl stuff.
Can't relate.
You know, like the yeah.
No, I can't relate, and I feel like there's a huge population of guys out there who are really into cat girls, and I just can't understand it for the life of me.
Ferris's cat ears also, like, they look like antennas almost. They're just, like, really huge.
Yeah, they're really
They're
big.
rabbit-esque. Yeah.
They're like horns almost.
It's great. I love Ferris.
Yeah, that fits.
They kind of look like her ponytails got an infection, and so they put cones on them so they couldn't bite their butts, you know, like you would do with a dog. Like, they're just cupping her ponytails. It's weird.
I love that Ferris, like, never breaks kayfabe. It's just so good. It's so good that she just is constantly outdoing Rintaro at his own bullshit.
Yeah, and she uses it. Like, she knows exactly what she's doing when she doesn't break.
Yeah. God. Anyway. So then we leave, the cafe, and Rintaro comes back to the lab, and Mayuri's there, and she talks again about being his hostage, which I guess is like, well, we didn't really talk about this so much. It's like the title that she kind of has, like, from when they were children, and he was still playing this game where he's like, I'm a mad scientist, and, like, you're my hostage. And that's, like, what he calls their friendship, I guess?
No, I don't think that's how it's presented. It was like, when he started the lab, he was alone, and then she showed up and said she was his hostage, and kept in company, and that was, like, a couple of weeks before they got Daru to join. And he doesn't know what it's all about, so...
Huh.
But she keeps saying she's his hostage.
Okay, so it's not part of the story. Since they're old friends, I thought, oh, well, is this, like, just part of the story? But he is talking to her, and he decides that he's going to take her out to eat. He feels, like, overcome, like he needs to do something nice for her, and it's like he's very much, like, acknowledging and realizing how much she has supported him all this time, and what a good friend she is to him, and all that stuff, and how patient she is with him.
It's kind of out of left field, honestly.
Yeah, I like Rintaro's, like, little moments of maturity where he, like, something hits him and he acts on it like that. I don't know, it feels very, like, appropriate for his character and, like, the age that he is as well, where he, like, has flashes of maturity, but he's not there yet all the time.
Yeah. And it's also, you feel with the character that you can't tell where the lines are drawn between immaturity, maturity, and like psychological damage because of what's going on in his life. Like if like everything that we're like, if the story can be believed on its own merits, like this is tough stuff to deal with. Time travel and knowing between timelines where everyone else doesn't is tough to reconcile for like a young person of any, no matter what's going on.
And he hasn't really sat down and reflected on it. He just like gets upset and then goes back to normal. So he hasn't really processed any of it, and he doesn't have time to process it because he keeps wanting to do more experiments. So I don't know, I feel like he's like on the cusp of being like, of like dissociating, like where, like none of these people are real because they don't remember anything. I'm the only one that is real and remembers. But I don't know how bad it'll get. So they start talking about, back in the lab, then with all the other characters in the lab, they start talking about, like, how do text messages get where they're supposed to get if they can't set the destination on the phone? Why aren't their texts just out in space somewhere? They kind of talk more about that. They still don't know what's functioning as the lifter in the microwave. So at some point somebody says, I wonder how much data is in the human body, which is hilarious. And there's like information theory. Information is another form of matter, or like form of a thing that there is, like matter, energy, and information.
So I've got kind of a theory on, like, they mentioned the whole movement in space thing. I think that's why the phone wave only works in a certain time period. Like, there must be some sort of confluence of the rotation of the Earth around the sun and on its axis to where the text will still be in kind of the local area.
Yeah, I can dig that. Yeah, I can dig that there's something going on with, I don't know if it's rotation of the Earth or what, but there's something happening in that time frame where the microwave is drawing something. You know what I mean? Like, something is happening in that time frame to the phone wave where it's now able to, I don't know, get more electrons to whatever its lifter is or what have you.
Oh, wait, no, yeah. There's a hole in that theory because during certain time periods, it just doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm. No, but that's the thing. It doesn't have enough energy to get to the next, like, quanta or make its leap, possibly. Which, by the way, I only have that theory because that's the thing I researched. And it has no bearing from the game itself. But still,
But they don't like really they don't really make any progress on this. I'll be interested to see when they finally, if it's answered or if it's just like left ambiguous because it's too hard to explain.
I feel like it must be addressed to some level. It's like a Chekhov's gun thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to explain it, why even bring it up? Mm-hmm. Unless you made it like an 88 miles an hour thing, right? Where it's just like it sounds cool or whatever. But it does seem like. It seems like they're adding some mystery around it, where it's like important to them to know why, like, you have to wait a day before you can send a mail. It's even like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like sometimes he'll get an idea, like Rintaro will get an idea, and it's like you can't act on it, so they have to wait until.
And then Daru talks about how he is still messing around in CERN's emails. And I think he's, like, spoofing emails to reserve them time on the Large Hadron Collider for no reason. And, like, everyone's like, what? Like, this is so dangerous. Like, why is Daru sending fake emails to around CERN, like, for shits and giggles? Like, what? And, like, nobody reacts to this as, like, as terrifying as it actually isn't, like, completely reckless and irresponsible. Everyone's just like, oh, Daru, and then that's it.
You mean, like, that they'll get caught?
Yeah.
That's a real thing, though.
But they're not afraid of getting caught or anything. Like, I don't know, the whole thing is just really suspicious, and because they don't focus on it very much, it makes me feel like it's even more suspicious that something is gonna happen because he was irresponsible and nobody paid attention.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, that I get you. Yeah. No, I mean, but, like, you know, some like hacker people really are kind of like that, where they'll just, like, call and, like impersonate people. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he's 19, so, like, I get it. But nobody is reacting like, hey, idiot, don't do this. Like, that's bad. Like, I totally get why he's doing it. Because he's a fucking Channer hacker in, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Rintaro kind of does, but then he just believes him when he said that he took precautions and nothing will happen.
Yeah, like as if he could know. But maybe that's just us like projecting as adults who know things about software and hacking, like how dangerous it is, you know? What's next? And then finally, Rintaro talks about the IBM 5100. And he's like, hey, Daru, have you gotten around to hacking the emails with the computer? And he's like, yeah, we need that, right? And he's like, what? No, we have it. And he's like, what are you talking about? And Rintaro runs over, finally, and looks, and it's gone! She did. Moeka took the computer, or whatever. I don't know. Whatever Moeka changed, or whatever Luca changed, they don't have the computer.
Now, D-Vac, wait a second. Let's not be hasty. We don't know that Moeka took the computer.
Why would a lab member ever steal from the lab? And then Rintaro is like, oh, it must be Moeka. And then immediately is like, no, it can't be Moeka. It must be John Titor. Oh, yeah. Damn, you figured it out.
Yeah.
Moeka, or the red herring.
This is a weird sequence. Like,
it is.
Like, they've already discussed how difficult it is to verify any of this stuff. So, like, he doesn't know what changes are happening in the past. He doesn't understand that things are getting, impacted. And, like, immediately he should be, like they've already done a bunch of experiments and they already know what the butterfly effect is. They should, this should be obvious that, like, oh, a whole bunch of stuff could have changed and we just might not have picked up on it. But he doesn't connect the dots for some reason.
And so he asks Luca, did we even go by? He starts to, like, break things down and is like, Luca, did we even come by and get the computer? And Luca's like, no. And so they go and talk to Luca's dad. Luca's dad says he remembers the computer being donated to the shrine, so it still was donated. But he goes to look for it and can't find it. And he also never gave it to us. Which, at this point, I was like, oh, because Moeka stole it.
Luca also acts kind of strange when he calls her. He asks about the computer, and then she kind of stammers and doesn't know what to say.
She hesitates for every answer. She either stammers or there's an ellipse before she says anything.
Isn't that kind of for everything, though?
It was especially obvious in this case, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we then head to the train station and see Moeka.
Well, first we call Ferris, because now Ferris is going to help us track down the 5100.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but, the price for that is you got to come over to my apartment.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. So, because we were calling her to verify, okay, well, did she even donate it? You donated it, right? And she was like, yeah, we did. And then we try to get her help to find it.
Yeah, because she's got all these contacts around the neighborhood.
And so Rintaro, Daru, and Mayuri.
Yeah, so he heads to her apartment, and then Daru and Mayuri follow him, which I think is a very bad idea.
Yeah, but Daru, I mean, he's not going to turn down the opportunity to get into Ferris's apartment where she lives. So at the train station, Rintaro sees Moeka, and she's on the ground, sad, kneeling down, crying that the IBM 5100 is gone. And she's like, the computer. And she's saying the FB said it should be here. And, it doesn't seem that Moeka stole the computer, or if she did, then Luca's text changed the past and took it back from her.
Yeah, because the other thing that happened is that now Daru and Mayuri know her again.
Yes, and they know who she is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So another thing, something happened when Luca sent her text.
Right. So what I'm thinking is that when Moeka sent her text, that was for the purpose of stealing the IBN and just getting the hell out. That's why nobody knows her. And then with Luca's text, that changed it so that, I don't know, it's somewhere else, or maybe Luca's hiding it. But that's why Moeka knows everybody now, because she went back to the lab to try to find it.
Yeah, that's my theory as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, whatever she sent, the thing about the upgrading your phone, I think is what it was. But whatever it was, it tipped her off to steal it. she's in this timeline. She got that message, but it didn't mean anything. She couldn't do anything with it because it was already gone.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
I wonder if FB is future buddy.
That's the code that the time travelers use. Future buddy.
Future buddy.
Use the future buddy system.
No one will ever figure it out.
Well, yeah. Wait, so, the thing is that in this time, I'm sorry, I stepped away for a bit, so I might be catching up a little. In the time period now that we're talking about, too, Moeka misses out on the IBN 5100, but still has reason. Well, I don't know. It's tricky, right? She wouldn't have a reason to go to. She only went to the lab, I think, because Rintaro told her there was an IBN 5100, right? And that's how she met everybody.
Yeah.
He mentioned the 5100 to her before they had the 5100, so she was already interested in him before that.
She wanted to meet Daru, the super hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So so it's still possible that in this timeline where she missed out on the 5100, that maybe she would have met them or talked to them for some reason.
Yeah. She still would have met them. Yeah.
Got it.
But she never found it. She went before they figured it out as well. And then, so she was like the first, and then it wasn't there.
Yeah, so this message to Luca's mother, the only way I mean must have affected it being at the shrine or being retained at the shrine. Somehow, like in some way we don't know that.
So it was at the shrine at one point because Luca's father remembered that it got donated, but then it disappeared somehow. And Luca probably had something to do with it because she was stammering on the phone and
Maybe Luca's mom just like, you know, she was way into health food now. She's just like was doing a spring cleaning. She was like, get rid of all this junk, Luca. Help me throw all this out.
It said eat veg, not computer. Okay, so we got to get rid of this. So we should have said keep IBN for healthy baby.
I wish we knew like what Luca's mom is like, you know, like if there was any change in her personality, because we don't know, because Luca's mom is just like this idea out there, so who knows?
Maybe she died in one timeline, but because she ate so many veggies, she survived longer in this timeline.
This is, well, I mean, I guess we can. before we get to that, I mean, can we talk about what did change as of Luca's email?
We don't know yet.
No, first we gotta talk to Ferris.
We don't. Oh, yeah, we don't know that.
Man, let's talk about Ferris. Ferris lives in a high-rise apartment at the top floor, and and Mayuri tells us her real name, and her real name is Akiha, as in Akihabara.
Rumiho.
Yeah, because
because
Ferris's father, her family they're the ancestral landowners. Yeah, so Akihabara is built on their land, like their land that their ancestors lived on.
Yeah, which is complete bullshit, by the way. This is no relation to real life at all.
I figured
there is no
much,
Akiha family.
Yeah.
Well, the times in our timeline.
But basically they're real. They're in real estate, right? Like they're developers. They that's the whole idea. They're extremely rich.
Ferris said she was been on like the board of developers since she was really little, and was pretty much the reason like all the anime and moe stuff came to Akiba.
Yeah, in my notes I wrote, Ferris is the soul of Akihabara. Moe was her idea. It's fucked up.
And this checks out, kind of, because this is really the time period when Akihabara turned from, like, mainly electronics to more anime and more stuff in real life.
I like the way that this is framed, because she explains it like she pitched it to, like, board members or whatever. And I'm just, like, imagining this, like, moe cat girl maid in the boardroom trying to explain
like 6 years old.
Trying to explain moe to a bunch of, like, board members.
I don't know.
But she's also like a multimillionaire.
They don't go into details about it, which is part of the humor, I think.
I want to see that PowerPoint.
So they go to her apartment and she has her cat ears on. Mm-hmm. Like, even when she's not working.
Right. Or like, she's wearing a normal outfit otherwise.
She's always on, just not with the maid outfit.
I love Ferris.
Yeah, she speaks with the Nya at the end and acts like she's called Ferris.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go by her name. She doesn't want to, like... She's like, I want to be... like, she's like it's kind of like I want to be out there as like my cat girl self and like live among the common people, kind of like Princess Jasmine kind of situation. I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't want people to know she's rich and look at her differently because of that. And I think that's interesting because it kind of explains why she accepts Rintaro's act, because it's kind of similar.
Oh, totally.
So she may see herself in him too, in how he acts.
In my notes I wrote in all caps, Rintaro and Daru affirm Ferris's identity as a cat girl. They're like, no, we'll call you the name you want to be called, like, you can act this way in front of us, it's no big deal. Which is like, there's so much like radical acceptance of like nerds in this game that I really appreciate. It's like such a thing. They're very sweet about it. And I don't know, they're just like blown away. Like Ferris has a butler. The butler lets them in. She talks a little bit about her family. It seems like she doesn't have a great relationship with her father. And the price for her information is to let her send a text message with the phone wave. And she wants to send an email to her father 10 years ago. But she doesn't want to tell us what she's going to send.
Of course not. No one ever wants to have fun and talk about things.
It's ridiculous. They shouldn't let anyone use it without saying what they're going to say. But then everybody is like, oh no, it's fine.
You know what, too? They shouldn't let everybody use it. Kind of, period. Like, it's a fucking time machine. You know, don't just let everyone use it. It's like that Simpsons when Homer gives up and just starts killing all the things in the past. But
I mean, I'm waiting for the tragedy to happen. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and they're gonna let just whoever use the time machine, and they're gonna wind up in some sort of fucked up hellscape timeline, and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't just let anyone use the time machine for whatever right now.
But that's the problem, right? It's like, because even, not to get ahead, I won't get ahead of it, but I'm just saying, like, they have no fucking idea what's being changed right now, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like Biff stole the time machine. They just gave it to him.
Right.
Go ahead, buddy.
And the phone wave can be used remotely, so they're like, oh, we can finally use the remote function and do it right now. And Rintaro calls Chris, and
this is a great sequence.
She won't... This is a funny little sequence.
It's like, hey, it's me. And she just immediately hangs up.
Yeah.
But she said, oh, was that you? I thought it was someone else.
And then she won't do anything until he says, hello, it's me, Okabe Rintaro. Could you please use the phone wave? And everybody's on board with the secret message. I can't believe this. Even Krisu doesn't ask what we're sending. This is just, Rintaro is saying, like, internally, he's like, oh, I want more data, like, I want more experiments to see if we can change the past and why only I remember it. But it's definitely reckless, especially not to even say what the secret message is. I don't know why everybody has such a hard time admitting what their secret messages are. I mean, I know it's personal, but, like, you can't admit it to even one person.
By the way, I didn't read, maybe I had missed this, that Chris was, like, cool with this, like, not knowing what it was. I kind of figured she assumed Rintaro, like, knew what it was. Yeah. And was like, all right, I'm prepping the time machine, you do that. You know what I mean?
She shouldn't have assumed that.
Kurisu and the rest, they haven't actually saw anything happen yet. I mean, only Rintaro remembers the past, so...
Oh, that's fair, too. Yeah, you're right.
From their perspective, like, they tried several times and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which also you'd feel like they'd have given up by now.
Although, I guess maybe minor things happen, because I think they do remember if slight differences change.
Well, so she does know that things have happened, or at least has an inkling that things have happened, because when we first state that, when Rintaro says that he thought we had the IBM 5100, she asks, okay, from your perspective, when did we last have this?
Yeah, and to be fair, she's seen evidence of the emails themselves.
Yeah.
Like, having arrived and things like that. So that, yeah.
Because if nothing changes, you still see the email that you didn't see 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So at any rate, yeah, like, I'm okay with her part of this. but Rintaro, like, just being like, yeah, send whatever. It's just, whatever.
I also like this little exchange because apparently they're going to have the microwave one for 8,600 seconds. And Mayuri's just like, oh, do we have to wait that long?
But well, time does change again. We see the Titer's device, or assuming Titer's device.
It goes down to 0.4. It's going down.
409, 420.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wake bait.
In this timeline, 409 is the weed number. I'm sorry, what?
Oh my god.
It went down from like 0.46, right?
456.
456903.
Yeah, it got closer to 0.
Yep, it keeps going down.
So CERN's winning.
And so, the timeline shifts, and what do we see?
They're still in her apartment, and everyone's still there. But, we don't remember what happened, and Ferris is teaching Mayuri and Daru to play Rainet.
And she mentions that she's going to be in a Rainet tournament, which specifically she was not doing before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or at least not any official tournaments.
Right.
Yeah, she's a pro Rainet player. And also, her dad's here, and she seems to have a close relationship with her father in this timeline. And he actually shows up and has a sprite.
And a voice.
And he's like, oh, Ferris, we're gonna go have dinner together.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, sorry guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna go spend time with my dad, who I love. And she seems really happy.
Yeah, and like right away, I mean, like even before the message was sent, my first thought was, oh, her dad died, and she's sending a message to stop him from dying.
Oh,
that was my immediate thought, that he died. That's why she's so influential, because she took over the family fortunes 10 years ago.
That's good.
Like he definitely like got on a train that was in an accident or was killed by something, and she sent a message to make him not do that.
I think she could tell them that, though.
Well, yes.
They might not have let her do it.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
It's too big.
Because that is a bit of a drastic change, yeah.
Yeah. That and, like, if she's, like, how bought in is she? Maybe she's just like, I'm going to take this shot to try and save my dead dad, but, I don't want to talk about it if it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that's fair. Yeah, it's funny too, because she's in there. I was like, you have a time machine? All right, what the? Yeah, okay. I'm totally on board with this theory.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've won the podcast.
Wow.
This episode.
So, but the time affecting the effects of changing the timeline are still immediately obvious to Rintaro, because if nothing else, when they leave the building, they walk out into Akihabara. And it's all electronics stores. There is no Moe in Akiba.
Also, I love all their fake electronics brand names. Like, Somvi.
I think none of them are fake. I think they're all real stores.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're not stores with one letter changed?
I think they're actual real stores.
I thought there was like Tobiba instead of Toshiba or something like that.
The Moe stores are definitely real. They didn't change them at all. I will talk about Tora no Ana and Gamers. These are real stores in Akihabara.
I actually recognized a couple of those.
I love the idea of a store that's just called Gamers.
Yeah, I went there.
Oh, yeah, and it's not really about video games. It's all anime goods. It's a chain. There are several of them.
Oh, I love it. What's up, Gamers? So,
how about T21 Minami? Is that a real electronics store that replaced it?
Oh, I didn't replace them. I think it was an electronics store. It was in Akihabara before things turned into the anime moe style.
Until Ferris had her way.
So, I have a question. Is there any truth to this? Did Akihabara used to be like a big electronics place before it became moe place?
Definitely, and it still is. It's just that right now it's like 50% electronics and 50% anime and moe. It used to be just the electric town, just the place you went to go buy electronics.
So here's the thing. Ferris's father now that he survived, stopped Moe in Akihabara.
Correct.
Which means that I am Ferris's father. Because I would have done that. No, but,
She saved all of us, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And this aspect of the story actually checks out because it was like a deliberate attempt by like shop owners and the committees like that manage the area to bring more and anime into Akihabara and attract that crowd. And that really happened during the 90s and 2000s.
Wow.
Wow.
Fucked up. It's fucked up and true, everyone.
Fucked up and true.
I wish we could make that the title of the episode.
Just what?
What I found little fun is that one change that happened is that there are more foreigners around. Rintaro noticed that. In real life, actually, the anime like brought the foreigners into Akihabara.
Yeah, I would.
Oh yeah.
So everything's electronic stores. There are no anime stores. They have to go to another place to get anime or manga or whatever Mayuri wants. And the maid cafe is just a regular cafe. So
And Mayuri just works at a regular cafe.
yeah, she's not a cat maid. And in this world line, Mayuri and Daru explain to Rintaro that they met Ferris at a Rhinet tournament, where Daru was in the tournament and had to suddenly drop out, and in a wacky sequence of events, Rintaro and Mayuri ended up facing off against Ferris, who beat them, but then afterwards they became friends, and she was showing them how to play. Suddenly, Rintaro gets an email.
Yes, he does. You're being watched, and it's from PATGHQWSKM at 96PBB.
Sure.
I don't think those mean anything, but that's who he gets from. And the attachment is just a picture of gelatin.
Red gelatin.
It's a picture of red gelatin. Is that a jelly? Like a jelly man? Is that a reference to the jelly men?
I think it is. It's somebody who definitely knows. Yep.
That's a hell of a threat, though. Because, I mean, it's silly, but I kind of take it to mean, like, we'll send you through time right now, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just we'll kill you, we're pretty much gonna erase you.
And, well, we'll turn you to jelly.
Yeah.
Fucked up. He freaks out, of course, and runs back to the lab. This shit's getting real, and at the same time, they're like going around to all their friends and being like, "Hey, you want to change time?" So it's definitely going off the rails.
He kind of freaks out, and then he can't handle it, and just decides to ignore it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that this character who, like, makes up a fantasy world that he lives in gets confronted with that fantasy world, like, kind of being true, and it, like, doesn't know how to handle it, because he just liked it when it was a fantasy and made up. Like, he wanted so badly to be part of a real conspiracy, and then he actually didn't. He liked just making it up. And, so when he gets back to the lab, Luca is there with Mayuri, and they're talking about cosplay. She's getting into cosplay, and Rintaro's inner monologue comments that it seemed like she always wanted to, but was too shy. So she's coming out of her shyness and wants to cosplay more. Suddenly, everyone gets mad at Rintaro for calling Luca a boy, but, like, for real this time.
Should we warn people about what's going on in this scene, maybe, if you want to skip ahead a little?
Yeah, so this part involves sexual assault, essentially. This is a very awkward scene.
Yeah. So skip, I guess I can record it. Skip ahead to, if you want to jump past that, and we'll talk about relevant plot stuff regardless, but in this particular scene,
Rintaro tries to verify his claims, basically.
Yeah. Everybody's like, Rintaro, that's really mean. What's the matter with you? Stop that. He's like, no, Luca's a man. And then, he's like, fine here. and he goes to grab for, the game puts it, a package, but realizes there's nothing there and gropes around for a while, and he's like, oh my god, wait a minute,
And the audio is rough in this sequence because, like, Luca's weeping.
Luca is legitimately reacting to being assaulted. Like, this is not like a wacky anime scene. Like, Rintaro's being wacky and everyone else is being real.
Yeah. And Rintaro does act real, like once this has hit him, kind of what's going on, what he's done, essentially.
Well, he gets hit. It hits him literally, because Kirisu takes a big-ass textbook and smacks him in the head while he's doing it, or, like, right after he stops. And like, he's down and in pain. Like, appropriately, she assaults him because he's assaulting someone else. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's definitely, like, and then at that point is when she starts laying into him, too.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes him, like, basically, like, kneel on the ground, for a long time. And but he realizes what he did. Like, he kind of had, like, a mental break, honestly, and like, I don't know. We were talking about this before the podcast because, like, he definitely, like, is having a mental break. But also, why was this scene necessary to, like, verify? So the verification is that Luca's text worked. And, like, but we didn't need the game to verify that it worked in this way.
And there was other evidence before even this that was, like, something is different about Luca. Like, they're talking about cosplay, and Luca actually seems pretty into it as compared to before, where she was acting really shy.
Mayuri calls her with Chan immediately after the...
Oh, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and she used Kun before.
Or was it? Yeah, you're right.
Does Luca still use Boku?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird, I don't really get it, but...
Yeah.
Whatever. So the way I had put it before when we were talking about it a little before is I almost feel like maybe the writers felt they had painted themselves in a corner a bit here because it's like, well, we need to verify that the D-mail worked in that instance. So how do we do that? But, like, I do feel like we didn't really have to do that. Like, I you know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to, like, not have had that verified, you know what I mean? Or we were also saying there's other ways they could have done it, like taking a trope of, like, oh, I accidentally walked in on them showering or something like that, where you have, like, where it's not a purposeful thing or whatever, you know?
He could have just believed it at face value, you know?
And there's that too, yeah, absolutely.
Like, he could have just been like, Chan, like, what? And then they yell at him enough that he's like, oh my god, it happened, and that was it, you know, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, the whole thing is wild.
Yeah. The only thing is, though, and I tried to go back today and watch more of it, because I'm not sure if this is true, but does any of this happen before Ferris changes to Pest?
I think there is one scene with Mayuri calling her with Chan before that.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I'm just wondering, you know, like, if there's going to be some kind of, like, you know, addition, like, oh, you thought it changed then, but it changed then, you know, that kind of thing.
No, you might be maybe you're onto something where it wasn't Luca's D-mail that did it per se. Well,
the only thing, but remember, immediately after, Luca's very self-conscious about Rintaro looking at her chest. Like, immediately afterwards, which is, like, his justification. Like, oh, flat chest can't be, whatever. Like, he just this dumb assumption and then moves on. But, other than that, it was tough to find it, so I'm just throwing it out there.
So the only thing, the only thing about that, too, is that when Luca's D-mail has to get sent to a pager because of the time period, which means that there's complication involved in getting it to a pager and getting the message transcoded. But, like, it seems like Ferris's D-mail is just straight to an email that we know of, right? Unless, you know what I mean? Like, right. So this seems like I like your previous theory there, because that seems like more of a straightforward email to her father or whatever that's like, don't get on this train or what have you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and also thinking about it now, real quick, that would be way after Luca was born. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't figure out how. Because the other option would be somehow Ferris getting a message to her father way in the past, maybe even before her birth, because there was something, I don't know what it could be. Stop smoking. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's the problem then is that her father wouldn't have had email back then.
No, because Ferris sent it to her father 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty established because, like...
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The only... I don't know if we want to get into this too, but, like, I don't really get how the vegetable thing would... That's a little...
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because that seems so, like, out of place with everything else in here.
Rintaro can't believe it either.
Yeah, he even...
Yeah. Then he's like, oh, does this mean...
Rintaro says, like, oh, did we make a discovery? Well, maybe...
I mean, it's a butterfly effect thing, right? Where, I don't know... Well, is she pregnant when she gets the email, or we not know? Do we not know?
I think the implication is that she was pregnant at the time.
No, I think they tried to send it to just before she got pregnant. Like 9 months before Luca was born.
Oh, yeah.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's butterfly effect, and I think he mentions that too, where any change, you know what I mean, could have done that. I don't know, you know.
I think I know what you're trying to say. So let's say that in the past,
it's not literally eating the vegetables,
no.
But it was changing the past in some slight way that, and I'm not 100% on the biology here, so I don't know if it's like different sperm reaches the egg or something like that. But
right, like let's say that Luca's mom looks down to read her pager, and because of that, she does it with her husband 10 seconds later. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Or he can't come right away because the page comes in the middle of
Oh my god! And Luca's the second child, so they would have been planning, right? Like they already had one kid, so like they were like family planning about it, and then...
I thought I told you to turn that pager off!
Eat veg for a healthy baby. Why are you reading that now? Like, well, because wait a minute, what the hell does this mean? Who cares? Just...
Put it down! We're busy here!
You never focus on anything, Lance! I don't know why Lucas... No, wait, that's not his name. I don't know who Lance is.
Lance is Luca's actual dad. Change that.
Later, Rintaro goes outside and talks
So she actually went out and met the vegetable man who sold her all those vegetables.
But Luca still looks exactly the same somehow.
Yep.
Who turns out they're brothers.
Oh my god.
The thing... Yeah. Well, the thing I was saying was we could still have a happy ending, kind of, where, like, Rintaro accepts Luca, you know, as female now, and then time changes back to where this didn't happen later in the game, and Rintaro realizes, well, she's really the same person all along, and I was wrong earlier. And it's like the car we took to get to that destination hit fucking everything on the way. And it's pretty much a wreck. But it got there, you know.
That's a good summary of how this game... I feel about Luca... How Luca is handled in this game as a whole.
Well, yeah, it, like, fits in with a lot of, like, trans stories where it's just like nothing's different, like literally, and they show Luca being pretty much exactly the same.
Right. I mean, it's not, you know, I guess maybe I shouldn't have jinxed it because we're not at the destination yet, so I don't know what Stein's Gate has still yet to pull.
Yeah, that's
I feel like every fucking chapter is like made me go, fuck, I'm gonna be dreading the podcast this week. But.
Like, every time the time changes, it's like, I'm waiting for, okay, what's going to happen? We're going to reach a point where somebody's just inside out or something.
Jelly.
Yeah.
But, so look at, like, the gravity of what we've changed, right? Like, so, they won the lottery, but not really. Moeka probably tried to steal the computer. And then, Luca changed her genitals that she was born with, and then Ferris might have saved her father from dying. We're making some big changes.
Yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm almost like hoping we get like someone turning into to gel or something like that, because that would be a lot more easier to handle. The last 2 podcasts, we've had some collar pulling moments that we've had to dance around. Just someone turning to gel, that'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
It honestly would, yeah.
Yeah, I could go for some of that.
Okay, so we got another juicy tidbit here, which is that Rintaro goes outside after he's done being punished, and he shows genuine remorse for what he did and everything, and he talks to Suzuha, who is working on her bike outside. And even though Akihabara is now Electronic City, the Brawn Tube Workshop is still, like, no one's there. No one cares about CRTs. So Suzuha asks Rintaro to go ride with her on her bicycle. And by ride with her, she means for him to pedal and her to ride on the bicycle. And he agrees. And Suzuha and Rintaro talk. They go while they're hanging out. And Suzuha says she actually only arrived in Tokyo 10 days ago and she is there to find her father. And oh my god, whose daughter is she? Whose daughter is she? Oh my god, oh my god. Rintaro wants to help her, but of course he doesn't understand that she's a time traveler, despite how many hints that she's dropped. So, he's like, well, where is he? Like, we'll send him a text in the past, like, to not abandon his daughter. And she's like, oh, that's really sweet. But obviously she's talking about her father, who is now a young man, who who dies in the future. Right? And so he hasn't died yet in the current year. He will die in the future where Suzuha is from. And, she's like, thanks, but you can't help me. And I don't want to talk about it, in more detail. And she says that, and then she gives us an explicit warning that, Rintaro should leave Chris out of his time machine plans. So she's warning us again about Chris and not to trust her.
It's still not explained what the beef is with Chris. It never is.
What's she gonna do? And Rintaro is so... He's such a nice boy all of a sudden. I mean, he just goes back and forth, right? Like, just between, like... He genuinely cares so much, and, like, when he fucks up, he shows genuine remorse, but I wish that he didn't fuck up in the particular ways that he does. But he is, like... He really cares about her. Like, perhaps uncharacteristically so. Like, he comments on how much he cares about her, but he cares about everyone like that. He's just, like, just noticing it about her for some reason. And, maybe he knows her in the future, right? Like, maybe his older self knows her father in the future and knows who she is. I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe he just has empathy.
Yeah, or the game is always, like, sending out these red herrings of romance. They're like, oh, he's gonna have an intimate scene with, like, these, not intimate, but like this sort of emotional connection with each of these characters at some point, and then you're like, I don't know, is there something going on here? And then there's
you have to get that harem ending somehow, and if it's beaten certain to do, no.
So he is like, oh, well, tell me when you're gonna go meet your father, and tell me how it goes, and then come back to the lab. And we'll have, and he's like, oh, we're gonna throw a party. He gets back to the lab the next day, and he's like, we're gonna throw a party for Suzuha, whether she makes it or not.
She says that she knows where her father is going to be the next day, and she's going to try to find him there. And if she can, she's going to leave Tokyo, right? I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, she's gonna leave.
Well, she's saying she's going to leave. She doesn't specify just Tokyo. It might be leaving a much larger
Yeah. Right, yeah, but she says leave Tokyo, yeah.
Yeah, but she does say she has a lead, and she knows where her father is going to be the next day, and she's going to try to find him there. And then when tells her that even if she doesn't succeed, come to the lab and we'll throw a party for you.
So, Rintaro wants to tail Suzuha and, like, see her reunite with her father.
Oh.
And Krisu is like, no. Like, you're not going to ruin their emotional moment. And so she is like, come shopping with me for food for the party. And so we go shopping with her instead so that we don't eavesdrop on the reunion like a jerk. And we run into Daru. And he says that he is on his way to an offline meet. And, you know, I'm just saying that, 1, Suzuha has the same color hair as Daru. And 2, Suzuha's mouth is a 3, and so is Ferris's.
What?
You had me.
I mean,
in the
I know
first
what you
part.
mean,
You
but...
lost me at the second part. Where's she going with this?
I'm saying that my working theory is that Suzuha is Daru and Ferris's daughter from the future.
Okay, but literally every woman in this game has the 3 mouth.
Not like that, though. I don't think so. I don't remember if Mayuri does a 3
Mayuri
mouth.
has one.
Does she have a 3 mouth?
Oh my god. Wait a minute. Daru is setting up time in the Large Hadron Collider so he can go back in time and fix his meeting with Ferris so that they fall in love and have a baby who's Suzuha.
Suzuha has pigtails, Ferris has pigtails. It all checks out.
None of it checks out.
None of it
yeah,
checks out.
okay.
Daru kind of has pigtails too. They're just coming out the side of his hat.
You're all kind of ignoring the elephant in the room here, which is that Daru gets laid.
I know!
No, but if you have a time machine...
It's great.
I mean, look, Groundhog Day, right? You know, like, he's able to, you know, he wins Jeopardy. Like, you got a lot of tries. I'm just saying. No, all right, but,
I mean, they're only 19. He's got his whole life to grow up and eventually have sex with someone. Like, come on.
The guy can't even rig a card game. You think he's gonna rig that?
look.
Who can say?
If you can reload quick saves in real life, I'm just saying you can work a lot out. There's one chance where he gets on that date and he's like, I know every faux pas I committed. If I can just, get the dialogue tree in just the right branch, but
Love finds a way.
So it is a Groundhog Day where it goes through the iterations, every dumbass thing he could possibly say that he gets to experience.
Yeah, he's just gone through literally every woman he could possibly
It's gonna
date.
take 10,000 years, but sure.
it's literally Groundhog Day, right? Because isn't that what Bruce Willis? Isn't that what breaks Bill Murray out of it?
Yes.
Like where he has sex with the...
No. It isn't succeeding. It's because, like, at one point, it's that he honestly falls in love instead of manipulating.
And it only took him 10,000 years. Got it. Okay.
God, slow beef.
So, important. So we yell at Daru. Rintaro's like, don't go to your offline meet. Come with us. Come back to the apartment. Come back to the lab. And he's like, well, is Ferris gonna be there? And, we're like, no, the real thing that happened is she texted to say she couldn't make it because she was spending time with her dad, who she loves very much. But Rintaro lies and is like, yeah, she's gonna be there so that Daru will come hang out with them.
He does the same thing he did before again. He doesn't technically lie. He just doesn't tell the truth.
Yes, he doesn't lie, he just doesn't tell the truth. And, so they're all, but everybody else, all the other lab members, Luca, Mayuri, and Chris are there, and Daru and Rintaro, and they set up this party, and, after Luca, Mayuri, and Chris team up to all be bad at cooking, and, Suzuha, texts, Rintaro later and she just says goodbye, I think. So she didn't find her father. She runs away. Rintaro goes to the train station and does find her there. And she runs away from him. And, he's like, oh, I can solve this though. I'm not gonna listen to, Chris, who told me to not go there. Like, I'm gonna text myself in the past and tell myself to not listen to her. And it sort of lines up with Suzuha saying, like, oh, we shouldn't trust her. And before that happened, but it's late night, so we can't send the text until tomorrow. And when we get back, or the next day before we send the text, before Rintaro sends the text to himself in the past, Mayuri texts Rintaro to say that the satellite in the Radicon building has disappeared. Which would imply that it is Suzuha's time machine.
Yeah, I wrote that in, like, all caps in my notes.
Yeah. This is actually something you can easily miss because the texts are from like last night. You don't get the sound. You just have to notice that you have new texts and look at them in the short period of time that you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets 2 messages from Mayuri and from Daru saying that the news said that the satellite disappeared.
So the time machine disappears, and so does Suzuha. So it was her.
Oh, it 100% was her. Like, it's so obvious. And I like how the game kind of low keys it with just the emails, and you're like, oh, she took the time machine back.
And I bet she fucked it up and crashed into the building because she wasn't supposed to steal it, right? Like,
yeah,
she just selfishly
absolutely
wanted to go back to talk to her dad in the past.
Oh, see, I thought it was like, sort of like how it was a gravity effect thing, like how, the microwave falls through the floor.
See, I was figuring that too, or how the jelly men like kind of are embedded in walls and stuff, where it's just so inexact trying to land the time machine.
Maybe,
like you can only kind.
Maybe they realized that they needed some kind of field which they could reproduce within the time machine. But when they were just transporting bodies would get stuck in walls. But if you used a machine, it creates whatever field they need to protect you within their little thing. So the machine gets stuck in the wall, but not the body.
Or both. Because the first time we see the satellite, it lands on the roof, and it crashes a bit, but it didn't get embedded in the wall. But the second time, after Chris is alive again, that's where it's like embedded in the top floor. Either way, the point is you can't just be going through time by yourself naked. That's ridiculous.
First, we built a time machine. It sunk into the swamp. And the second time machine.
Oh my god.
Well, it's like, teleport that guy into the past. He turned into jelly. Put him in a box. Hey!
Wow, it worked.
We're CERN. Science, baby. Then people like cheers a bunch of
We only killed 17 people before we realized we need a box.
Hundreds of people.
It's like, I can't believe we didn't listen to Jimmy, who had the dumb box idea. We were like, Jimmy, you can't just put him in a box, and then what do you know? All right, now where's the time machine? What do you mean Suzuha stole it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Jerks!
Rintaro texts himself in the past to not listen to Chris, and the world line changes again. It changes down to 0.33. Changes a lot. And Suzuha is here in this world line. She has not left. And, of course, we don't remember the party because we remember the other world line. So Rintaro goes and interrogates her about what happened yesterday, and she said that she did get to see her father yesterday, and it was at that meetup that Daru was going to, the time machine offline meet, right?
Oh no, she said that she didn't meet him.
Oh, she said that she didn't meet him?
She didn't find her father, but Rintaro was there too, so she didn't run away.
Ah, okay. Oh, so he was there. Okay. So he went and tailed her still and talked to her.
Yeah, she says that like Rintaro, Daru, and Kurisu found her way before she had a chance to run away.
Not Kurisu. It's
Mayuri.
Daru Mayuri.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, no, just come to the lab. Come on, let's just go over here. We're gonna. She bought in, and they took her there. And then they all partied all night.
And she also says that she's going to stay in Tokyo for a few more days. She didn't plan to, but she enjoyed herself so much she's going to stay.
And she's inducted as Lab Mem 008. And she thinks that Rintaro doesn't remember what happened last night because he was drinking. So she tells him stuff, and she says that her father is John Tighter. Oh my god.
Wait. No, she says her father's Tighter.
Barrel Tighter.
And she says that John Tighter on @channel is not her dad. Because it's not. And she says, well, he didn't go by John Tighter. He went by Barrel Tighter, yeah, which is, and you might think, oh, what do you mean Barrel like Queen Barrel or no, like Barrel like Donkey Kong Barrel. Barrel like Barrel Tighter.
Yep.
Which is,
it's very Blickwinkle.
Ooh, it's very Blickwinkle. Ooh, we're getting a little Blickwinkle-y in here, folks.
Yep.
Barrel Tighter is a shitty code name.
It really is.
It's really bad.
Because, like, my first instinct was barrel titer is the like Niagara Falls. Like, oh, we just sent this guy in a barrel over the falls, and surprise, he survived.
Barrel Titer's the worst Mega Man X villain.
But also John and then Barrel? Like, what? What was the code name meeting? Like...
Well, maybe he used his first name at first, and then someone had to tell him, was like, dude, you can't use your first name. Make up something else. Okay, fine, Barrel.
And then he looked in the corner of the room, and it was like, Barrel Titer?
There was another guy named John in the room.
It's the same. No, it's the same thing, right? They're the same person, but when they time travels back, it's like, well, everyone's gonna know if I call myself Barrel that that's not a 2008 name. But in 2034, everyone's naming their kids Barrel.
It's the new fad.
My brother Crate goes by Dave Titor in the past.
Just barrels are that popular. Everyone's into barrels now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Barrel Titer.
Yeah.
Whatever.
End chapter.
I'm with you already. Yes.
So we'll apparently find out more about Barrel Titer next time. That was it. Barrel Titer is the end of the episode.
Who the fuck is Barrel Titer? You know, Barrel Titer could be Daru, because Daru's kind of shaped like a barrel.
No, I feel bad now. That was a fat joke.
You guys want to just keep bringing this back to Daru. Like, I'm satisfied to just leave him where he is.
I'm conflicted because, well, I won't say anything. Okay. Yeah.
Nope.
Next time.
Let's just say I think English readers are missing a clue here, because they didn't really translate it in a way that leaves the clue in.
Wait, is it going to involve a giant ape throwing John Titer somewhere?
Titer Kong.
Yeah, in Japanese, Titer is actually Kong. So
Let me ask it: Is it I guess without getting too relevant, but is it like? Is it kind of like one of those consonant change things, like V to B, where it would have been like Varuta?
No, not really. I think, Slub, if you in particular, you can probably figure it out if you try hard enough. But I won't say.
But I'm too lazy.
Hey, dumbass, figure it out.
No, I mean, you know something about Japanese, so...
Oh, okay. But I've been... okay. All right, so...
It's like a
all right.
kanji thing.
I don't know. I think I know. I think I'm on the... I don't know. I'd have to think more about it.
I would just say that he's named Barrel in Japanese too, like Bareru. Which is how you...
Oh, he is?
Yeah, which is how you like
Bareru.
spell barrel in katakana.
Right. Bareru. All right, I can think about it. All right. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about?
Next time reading.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, where are we going until next time?
Yeah, so next time, I don't think it's a good idea to split chapter 5 into 2. It's about the same length as chapter 2, if you remember that. So, not particularly short, but not way too long. And I think we should read all of it for next time.
Sure.
All right, then. All of chapter 5.
And content warning, this is the chapter that has a not safe for work image in it. So be careful about that. You will see it coming, so it doesn't. It won't be surprising you out of nowhere. But
can I? Yeah, I will just say too. Because I do this. I read this on the bus sometimes, so I was waiting for that. Also, this game does tend to zoom in on characters' crotches quite a bit. I'll just say that. There's a couple times where I'm like, I'll just read that in the backlog and lower my monitor and hit enter a few times, but that's okay. All right. Anyhow, do a battery roll for next time.
But anyway, so this is a real non-safe for work image, like nudity, and it happens in like the first half of the chapter, like fairly early.
Okay. All right then. I'll be sure to read that and look at it at home.
For all the rest of you reading this game on the bus.
Or at work, where they apparently let you read visual novels, as long as they're safe.
I mean, I work from home, so I can look at as much porn as I want while I'm working, but,
Visual Novel Book Club does not endorse porn at the workplace.
Oh, no, hold on.
There's a guy I used to work with who apparently would... Never mind, anyway.
So we want to stop recording now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
No.
bye, buddy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Oh,
night.
El Psychon Group.
Health Icon Group.
That's Icon Group.